Dr. Ramchandra Kaza is famous in India as the father of no-scalpel vasectomy, or NSV as it's known here. Trained as a urologist, he could have had a lucrative career in that field. Instead, he recognized the power of this simple technique to help his country. He set out to train providers in every state of India and still has thousands of doctors who are indebted to him for their skills and who respect him for the enormous project he undertook to assure that Indians had access to this safe, non-invasive method of contraception. Today, we welcome Dr. Kaza to speak to us and tell us in his own words about the history of NSV in India. Thank you, Dr. Kaza.
Thank you so much. I think I'll go and share my screen now. Much, Deidre, for that kind introduction. I was asked by Jonathan to speak about my NSV experience from my perspective. And so I thought that I am associated with NSV in India for the last 3 decades. And I thought that it would be difficult to encapsulate all that into a span of 15, 20 minutes. So I thought I'll focus on a part of our journey, NSV journey, which will be possible for others to emulate also, particularly the low resource settings. So first of all, I must thank you and thank the World Vasectomy Day to have invited me and to speak on this subject. And I think, I speak, and I dream NSV. So it's really a pleasure for me to speak on this subject. India is a large country. It's actually the seventh largest in the world. And the reason I have to bring it up to you is because, first, to give you an idea of what kind of country in which I worked in, and secondly, the kind of divisions and the vastness and the diversity of this country. Say we got about 3,000 kilometers north to south and 3,000 kilometers east to west. And it is divided into 28 states and 8 union territories. Union territories means the ones that are governed by the central government, and Delhi is one of them. And in addition to all this, we have districts. First, the country is divided into states, and each state is further divided into districts. So, total number of districts that there are somewhere around 782. And when I did my work, there were 672. Well, it was my hope that I'd be able to travel to all of them. I've traveled to all the states, but of course, I could not have traveled to all the districts. I traveled to around 278 districts out of this. Now, the speciality of India, of course, is the population. And we are the most populous country in the world, 1.46 billion, according to a UNDP report that has just arrived in the country about a week ago. And the most interesting part of that is the fertility rate is at last down to the replacement level all over the country. It is standing at a figure of 1.9 at this point of time. And most of the states, particularly those which are in the south of India, have reached 1.3, 1.4 levels. Now, the reason for bringing this up is it has an impact on whatever family planning measures that India is going to take from now on. Because already the family planning program officers are very happy with the fact that the fertility level has come down to the replacement index, and they're cooling off somewhat towards family planning. In fact, there are appeals from rather confused politicians that we should start having more children so that we won't fall short of workforce 3 decades later. So it's an evolving situation. And I find that large number of Indians, particularly urban Indians in the middle class, they're postponing childbirth, which means that they may not accept permanent methods of family planning. And the toddler among the show is the vasectomy arena. So obviously it's likely to be most effective. But anyway, there are 3 generations right now in which the family planning is evolving, and where it will go, only time will tell. We are basically been a vasectomy country way back in 70s, something like 80% was the acceptance rate at that point of time. Then we had a period when there was probably coercive methods of sterilization, and subsequently the figures went dropping. And currently, the latest is called National Family Health Survey. The figures is lower than 0.3%. That means we have done about 55,000 vasectomy versus 4 million vasectomies. So that's the level of vasectomy, and that's how it has fallen. We even not in the top 10. And when you look at the number of cases that are done by United Kingdom, they are just about 11,000, but they're 10.4% of their performance. And similarly, US and all other countries are ahead of us in terms of percentages. And there are only two Asian countries which are in the top 10, and that is Bhutan, the happiest country in the world, and Nepal. These are two countries which are ahead of us, ahead of from the Asian countries. We are in the top 10. Now, what does it mean? We've worked very hard. There's no doubt about it. But then we've dreamt also very hard, but we could not bring up the figures up to 5%, which was my goal to begin with. So this is a sad situation as of now. But then I am going to bring forward to you the kind of activity that we did. Uh, when I say we worked hard, I just want to show you what we did in order to train people and bring this at least the service provider base, enlarge the service provider base so that we can increase our figures. So my journey started here. This is the Population and Community Development Association, the PDA. This is in Bangkok, Thailand. And Dr. Apichart was the trainer here. He was training at that point of time on behalf of Engender Health. And he was really my guru in many senses because he taught me how to train and how to be a good mentor. So much so that even I'm a vegetarian, and so much so that he even attended to my food and everything. It was a great experience. I really revere him. He's no more with us. And I was also trained in China, in Sichuan Reproductive Health Institute with Dr. Lee. I did it in 3 episodes of 7 days each. I observed him, I learned from him. He's a quintessential teacher, not very vocal. He speaks less, but it is by observation that you really learn. So these are the two places where I started off on my NSV journey way back in 91, 92. So I was certified as master trainer for the government of India in 1991. Dr. Apichart came from Bangkok and he observed me and then he certified me. And I was allowed to be the national trainer only after he certified me. And so I started my work sometime in 1992. And the first 4 or 5 years of the work, you can call it as a foundation phase. That's the time that I was actually improving, honing my own craft, developing my own center, and buying instruments, etc., because we simply didn't have the instrumentation. And most importantly, NSV was a forgotten art. And so there was absolutely no material for IEC and definitely not for NSV and community outreach and how to do it. So this is, you can call it as a foundation phase. And it is in this particular phase that I actually really learned because normally we surgeons are not community outreach people. And I really had to learn how to go about that. And then I spoke at every possible place, and that means markets, that means exhibitions, that means every possible place, just to make people understand what is NSV. So that phase lasted for 4 to 5 years, and this was actually done under another project, which was Centers of Excellence project, that was at that point of time being run by the Government of India and Engender Health. And that under that project, we formed the national standards for sterilization. Now, the next phase, the government realized that we could possibly do to have intensive activity in favor of NSV because Government of India had signed ICPD Cairo and they wanted to increase the male participation. So there was an intensive desire to do that, and NSV was at the forefront. because Engender Health was already working with us, and Douglas Huber had come and introduced us to that particular subject. So we decided to make a project out of it. Government of India and United Nations Fund for Population Activities. These two organizations joined together and devised a project, an NSV project, for a duration of 5 years. And my mandate was to train trainers at that point of time. So I was hired as the project advisor of Government of India, and I had to take a sabbatical from my academic job at that point of time. And so I planned entire training for the entire country and helped in the creation of training centers. In our country, the states are autonomous as far as health is concerned. So therefore, they all have to be motivated to do all this exercise. And of course, looked at the instruments and how to do a nationwide propagation about the IEC materials, and also planned for the community reach. So this segment of 5 years went into that. And subsequent segment of is still on. And there the NSV project was introduced into the program, national program, as NSV, as a part of the national program. So now it is part of that, and all the activity is being continued. But major highlights have been that we did participated in research. We developed more and more district trainers, because at that point of time we didn't have district trainers. So we developed the district trainers, and we also further developed IEC materials. Each state had its own materials, be it handbills, be it billboards, be it TV advertisements, radio jingles, all kinds of things. Every state did whatever they liked. And so a lot of materials were developed, and community outreach as well. So it sums up the overall situation. And then now I'll focus on how we went about the training aspects. So it required to do some maths in Delhi, in the air-conditioned environment of Delhi. I didn't yet hit the ground, and I really didn't realize how different the field is. So we had to train approximately 35 people, and the time that 35 state trainers and 673 district trainers, and the time available was 60 months, 5 years. And so we planned to have 4 trainees per course coming from 4 different districts, and we were planned to do 180 courses. So that means approximately 3 training courses per month per state. And each time we did this activity, and this was the quid pro quo, we needed to have at least 40 cases, 40 clients accepting the procedure, so that we could possibly allow the trainees to learn the procedure, which means learning cannot be at the cost of complications, it cannot be at the cost of quality. It required intense observation and participation along with the trainees in order to complete the training. And this duration of the training was 4 days. So obviously, at the start, we thought, okay, I make my home base first. Sitting on the chair is the state trainer at that point of time for NSV. And we had these 4 trainees, typically coming from various parts of Delhi and the surrounding Delhi. And then, of course, myself and a program officer. This is what I wanted in every state, that every state should have this kind of state trainer with colleagues, and then a program officer and a supervision from the national train. This is what we planned. And the training schedule was, in those days, it was actually 4 to 5 days, because all by myself, there was nobody who knew the procedure. So I had to do all the cases. And so naturally, I took 4 or 5 days. And also, people were just beginning to accept the procedure. So they were not always coming on day 1, day 2, day 3. So therefore, I had to keep time on my side, 4 to 5 days. That has now been condensed into 3 days. But I can look at the curriculum, and I realize that it's tough to do this kind of activity in 3 days. Nevertheless, Government of India apparently has now approved this particular schedule, but I used to do 4 to 5 days in those days. Now, most of since the clients cannot be the experimental subjects, so therefore they have to go through a lot of model training. The models that were available were very expensive. And it is very difficult to have put this particular model on the left side across the whole country. So therefore, we created our own models. We called it as a glove model. It's just a IV line inside and in the glove, and that glove put on a water bottle, and this can be put on an operating table to give a feeling as if it is as close to reality as possible. And the trainees spent substantial amount of time practicing on this particular model, the various steps that actually go into an surgery. Fortunately, no scalpel vasectomy is very methodical, very scientific. So therefore, it was very easy to teach the steps on this particular model. We had issues, major issues with instruments, in the sense that the instruments that were made in China were extremely good, absolutely no doubt, brilliant instruments, but very expensive for us. So we had to find a local manufacturer. Excuse me. We had to find a local manufacturer who would manufacture the instruments for us. And some changes also had to be made. For example, the Dr. Lee's forceps it was a bit soft for our filariasis cases. Many of them used to break. So I had to change the angle, make it more acute, brought it down from 120 to 37.5, acid hardened the tips so that they don't break. And that can be used even in cases of filariasis. There was a cantilever. It again is a brilliant development on part of Dr. Lee, but I had to get rid of it because I needed an extra notch to catch the vas in these thick scrotums. So small modifications. I shared these modifications with Dr. Lee at that point of time. And the procedure was completely standardized. There was no I think I was fairly rigid on that. There was absolutely no latitude, and it was done. I taught them whatever Dr. Lee taught us. There's absolutely no variation, excepting one step, and that is that of fascial interposition, which was taught to us by Dr. Apichar. I preferred that because Dr. Lee's technique was required a lot of skills, and it was more difficult to teach that step. So therefore, we picked up Dr. Apichar's procedure. And but we standardized the entire procedure. There was no variation of procedures. All my first round of trainers performed the procedure the same way all across the country. Now the IEC materials. As I said, to begin with, there was none. And we had to start creating these materials. And it was again a big training for me as well, because there are a lot of finer nuances to language, how the thing should be projected, etc. I learned it from the IEC Department of Government of India, how to go about it. I gave them the inputs and they prepared these materials. So you can see the old one way back. This is 2006, but there were many even prior to that. But you can see the ideal family of that time, a couple with two children, right? And today's one is on this side, and here it is coupled with one child. And increasingly, the options are being given to the people to choose whether they want to have one or probably none if they want. So it's their choice. So a lot has changed on this front and a lot more changing. As a matter of fact, as I was in practice, many people would want NSV to be done, even though they were not married. They were into relationships, so they wanted NSV done. Obviously, Government of India does not allow it. Government of India allows it only for those people who are married. So the next method of community outreach, apart from handbills, billboards, TV slides, and jingles, and we have a variety of propagation where on a rickshaw microphones are put, and it is very nice to do that in suburban situations. And people just go talking about NSV on that, and it goes through the bazaars and markets of India. So it really worked. So that was tried by many states. And then I also realized as I traveled that a lot of resistance from women. And women would even enter the theaters and take away their husbands while they was operating. I realized that they needed to be neutralized in some format. So I had to spend time for that and then brought them up into these meetings with the picture of which you are seeing here. This is the accredited workers, and along with their families that they took care of, and a few male workers. Male workers disappeared very fast as time passed. Government of India withdrew them, and so we had only female workers who were working for NSV as well. So this is one of the pictures of that. And I had also to neutralize the resistance, particularly from the senior doctors, whether it is my own colleagues, faculty, or from the senior doctors. Otherwise, there was a tremendous resistance. They thought, what is there in this vasectomy? That this guy has come all the way to teach us. So it was also an exercise. I always had a meeting with them first, then I had a meeting with the local healthcare workers, and then, of course, then only I got into the operating theater. So this is a picture of the seniors being taught. And we also used extensively the organizations in the industry because they're organized labor and it was easier to approach them. So this is the Tata industry in India, the most famous one. And I acted there. I went there 2, 3 times, as a matter of fact. A large number of men got operated there. And we also approached the army, the security forces. I had worked in Kargil as well, in the bunker hospitals. So they all came forward and got their NSV done. But the important thing was that we need to speak to these are all the clients who are waiting to be operated. And it was I had a problem in this place. There's a place in Maharashtra in India. And I had a problem here because somebody had gone around propagating that I was going to do an injectable contraception, which is still not. It is vasal gel is being talked about, but in any case, even now it is not on the ground. So somebody propagated that, and then the word spread that I was operating, I was doing a procedure, and there was a lot of noise, and I was at the risk of being manhandled. So at that point of time, I had to go and speak to them and explain to them that whoever wants to stay can stay, and but this is what I am doing. And so most of them stayed, and I finished at 11 p.m. in the night. But what the important point that I was wanting to make was that we should be truthful whenever we talk to the people. Tell them exactly what we are doing. Now, the rural theaters are very different from the urban theaters. And very soon I learned that if I wanted a training of atmosphere, I better work in the district hospitals, which are close to the urban centers. This is a sub-center. This is almost the first place where a patient comes into our system in India. And it's very difficult to reproduce theater conditions here. And what I'm showing you here is a healthcare worker who is very good, indeed, very good in conventional vasectomies. But in India, we are not allowed to allow healthcare workers to operate. It's not legal. So therefore, I had to change all this and then bring them into line that we cannot allow them to be surgeons. And of course, once the procedures, the people were trained and I felt them that they were properly scored. We had a pre-test and we had a post-test and they were properly scored and then subsequently certified. And the certification, I always ensured that it was a proper function so that everybody knew who are the people who got certified. And this is one of the pictures coming from the state of Kerala in India. You can see the trainer of that state, and you can see the director of health services, and you can see the new training in the picture. It is also important to go to medical associations, to Rotary clubs, to Lions Club, and all these organizations. So I always had an engagement fixed with those people as well to convey the message of NSV. They were polite, but not always accepting. But I had to convey the information that was important for me. So this is Dr. Balji didn't join, I think, even now, and this is her record actually. And she had done 700 vasectomy operations in a matter of 6 days, and this record is yet to be broken. And so she's was the state trainer of Punjab, and of course, I was there for a couple of days. As time passed, I didn't have to be there on all the days. It was just necessary for me to be present occasionally to see that everything is going on well. So she had 8 or 9 trainees in this, And it really worked very well. And this record is yet to be broken. But I used the press intensively in order to propagate the message. These are all photographs from the paper. This is in 2006, where I think Dr. Banjit's camp was going on. And this, of course, says that 200,000 men have chosen vasectomy, etc. This Punjab had an acceptance rate where in her state it was 20%. So we've never got that figure anywhere in the country. So I think this was fantastic. But then there it is, not today, but it was those days. And after 5 days or 4 days of work, I come back into the lonely office, my old computer of 90s, and I had to type out my reports because ministry wanted detailed reports. And if they wanted any further inputs, I had to do it on the weekend to them. And next week, again, I am gone to another place. So this was the schedule I followed for 5 years. And we trained 4,000 trainees at the end of the day. And we traveled to around 273 districts out of 672. And so I think we worked hard, but yes, we fell short somewhere. So as time passed, realized that reversal was also to be taught. And so I was already doing microsurgery, and I invited my microsurgery trainee from San Francisco to come and train my other colleagues. The man operating here is the vice chancellor of the university. He opted to propagate NSV. He's also passed away now. So we trained all the academic and academicians in the prestige microsurgery. Obviously, this could not be done in smaller hospitals. But then anyway, we went into that arena to train people in microsurgery as well as time passed. Awards came and went, but my goal of 5% hasn't been reached even now. So it happened. So as time passed, one focused on what one could do, and what one could do was to clone myself and sort of make large number of trainees across the nation. The people to provide services were available, and but the client loads, as I can see now over the years, because I went back to my faculty job, and I also continue to train people for the district trainers. I participated in all the inputs that are required, but naturally, as time passed, my academics took over, and I had to give attention to that place as well. But all the trainers across the country have tried very hard. But what I can see is that the programmatic effect effort has not been as much as it should have been. I feel that if you were to ask me what is it that stood in the way, I'll probably put the program first, then men next, and not the reverse. Thank you so much. And again, thank you for inviting me.
Wow, what a story. I mean, I'm so glad that we have you to tell it. And I'm so sorry that this entire thing that you built has been slowly collapsing.
Uh,
We're
uh,
facing essentially the same thing as World Vasectomy Day. We're trying to figure out how to propagate, train trainers, get it out, spread the word. And it's a slog. It's really hard to do. And then if they don't keep it up, if it can't get passed down, you run out of power, steam to do it. But what a tremendous effort, Ram. That was really amazing, Dr. Kaza.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
hello,
I
Bal.
think Baljeet has just joined. It
Oh,
appears.
she was there. You didn't see her, but she was there.
She was there. I see.
You can
Uh,
unmute. You don't have to be mute. It's okay. You can unmute. Baljit, you can talk. No, you're mute
Hi.
there. Hi, it's so nice to see you.
I'm so happy to meet both of you. Where is Jonathan? My hugs to him also. It's been too long. And Dr.
Oh,
Carter has also gone off so far. It's so difficult to catch up with him. He's
oh,
now
now you're far
3,000
away.
kilometers away from me. Yeah,
yeah, Hyderabad is very far from Delhi. Yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
from my place, sir.
Chandigarh. Yeah, we went there.
So you should come to India, all of you. Come to
Oh,
Taran to my place.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
loved it. I visited, remember? Jonathan and I visited you, and it was
quite
beautiful.
right.
It was really beautiful. I mean, India is so immense. It's so different in all the different states, but how hard it must have been to go from state to state and then have to return to do the certifications, to return to do everything. You must have gotten to
Uh,
know these people quite well.
yes, actually, the first round of people whom I trained, they're all very good friends of mine, and they've remained so. And they've remained so because we spent a lot of time together. And not only doing the work, but we enjoyed doing the work. And there was a lot of bonhomie, a lot of companionship. And, and I was into an arena which I was completely unfamiliar, public health. And so they helped me out a lot, helped me out a lot in feeling at home. But then I think I was born for this in the sense I know how to speak 7 languages. And any part of India, I'm at home. So
Amazing.
I don't. I think so that helped me a lot. It helped me a lot to feel
Can
at
you
home
can you see
wherever I
somebody?
go.
I can almost see that, not
Oh,
quite.
yeah,
Explain
so
to me
not
what I'm
quite.
looking at. That's a
Yeah,
prize.
yeah. That is actually Dr. Liu, and she's the person who was working with Dr. Li in China.
Oh,
Sichuan Reproductive Health. She was actually next, and subsequently she became director of that institute. And so as a matter of fact, she was one of the persons who spent again a lot of time training us. So,
it's
yes,
very impressive. What you guys did, so impressive. And, you know, the seeds of it still sit there. It's just that nothing's happening. And when the government doesn't agree with promoting it, it's impossible. You know, it's so,
that's true. That's
what's
true.
that a
It's
picture of,
because
Bucky?
it's
Oh,
far too big for,
is it
it
in
has
the
to be an
focus?
organizational.
I can
Is
see
it in
it,
the focus?
apparently.
Oh,
I can't say.
can you see?
It goes in and out of
No,
focus. What am I looking
maybe
at?
not in focus. Yeah, that's right. Can't see
Now,
that.
Yeah, now I can see it.
Uh,
this is Dr. Kasa's mother.
No, really?
Yeah,
Amazing.
one of the conferences, he's touching her feet. I
Oh,
have
that's
the whole
beautiful.
record with me.
That's so beautiful.
Oh, Acha, how did all these pictures come out? I suppose you are working on editing photos today. Must be
Yeah.
happening. Yeah,
But
that's right.
so amazing.
So that's how it has been, Deidre, and I think it's well, I've written it up now. I've written it up. Hopefully, sometime end of this month, or so it should come out in the form of a book, the NSV story.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so
So
happy to hear it. That's so important. It
you see,
really is.
because as I said, 3 decades of NSV can't written, whether it's 20 minutes lecture or half an hour lecture or whatever. So I thought, let me write it out. And from my perspective, it may not all be good and it may not always be, liked by everybody, maybe, I don't know. But I've written out what I saw and what I feel
And
that
you were
it should
there.
be.
You're the one
Uh,
person that was there for all of it. And, you know,
Yes.
it's just been, look at the friendships and look at how long it's endured. It's really
quite right.
beautiful.
Deepa,
So,
the
yes,
truth is, we all are whatever we were made, we all are because of him. Definitely, our parents gave us birth, they gave us an opportunity to educate ourselves. But then the right shaping came up with it's not just no scalpel vasectomy. What Sir has taught us, Dr. Kaza, is how to be that human being which needs that empathy to give this service because this is very different from any other service.
Oh, that is a legacy and a half, Dr. Kaza.
Yes.
It is an amazing to
yes,
have someone
I
say
think
that about you.
she's. Uh,
So
Thank
beautiful.
you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Deidra, to come back. It's nice to talk to you. And
Always.
I hope that this has been adequate and we can replace whatever it is that was missed out in that lecture.
You did a great job, and thank you so much.
Uh, Good morning, Zambia, and good evening in New York City, and greeting from New York. And I want to thank Jonathan for your kind invitation. And when I received your request, and I took it seriously. I put together this set of slides. As you know, I'm not a historian, and sometimes when you talk about vasectomy history, and you're mentioning a lot of people, if I make some mistake and miss someone's contribution, please forgive me. So a lot of people that want to know and who is Dr. Li and what is his background. And Dr. Li is extremely well known in China in the field of andrology. He was my mentor after I finished my residence. I working with him for several years. He taught me about how to do no-scalpel vasectomy. And the last time I met with him almost several years ago before the pandemic. And he retired. I tried to reach him in the last few days without success. Dr. Li graduated from Chongqing Medical University in 1962, and I first introduced myself to Dr. Li through my parents. My parents are Dr. Li's professor when he was a medical student, and my father even served as a consultant for many of his andrology project. He was trained as a neurosurgeon in the middle of 1960, and then become a urologist between 1970 to 1980s at the Chongqing First Works Hospital, and now it's also changed the name to Chongqing Emergency Medical Center. He needed a China national task group on male contraception technology and the clinical research in early 1970s. And as you know, and he invent groundbreaking vasectomy technique as long as no-scalpel vasectomy that revolutionized male contraception, surgical male sterilization procedure to meet a high demand of national significant priority for family planning and population control with a one-child national policy from 1970 to 1980. This policy was abandoned in year 2015. Now, as a couple, you want to have as many kids you want, but facing a new problem. China facing a population decline, and the birth rate also sharply declined as well. And so currently policy is the China government to provide many options for long-permanent contraception, but very carefully and not to say limited, very carefully to analyze as at least not really support for permanent, not to say support. If you want to have a vasectomy and tubal ligation, you have to go through with the local medical authority to get approval. It's look like from the one extreme to another extreme. Majority of vasectomy performed in China only urologist. And many people know about the no-scalpel vasectomy, the name of no-scalpel vasectomy in China. So many of the family practitioners are not allowed to do the vasectomy only for the urologist. So Dr. Li also served as the chief andrologist and the director of Chongqing Family Planning Research Institute in 1980 and the 1990s. And the last very big job for him was he was served as a president of Sichuan Reproductive Health Institute, which this institute affiliated with the WHO task group between 1990s to year 2000, early year 2000. And he retired with great honor in 2001 or 2002 at the age of about 70. This couple of pictures show the early time I was working with Dr. Li as a fellow. This is the pictures, the early 1980 in Chongqing. This is Chengdu, and Dr. Li's second job in 1980. So look at this picture, you see this is Chongqing become a very modern city. And the skyline even looks prettier than Manhattan. This is Chengdu. Both Chongqing and Chengdu are big city and rank a third or and the fourth largest city in China. Chengdu is the capital city of Sichuan province with a population about 20 million, and is one of the most livable city in China. Chongqing is very much like an industry city, and is one of 4 director administrative city by under the central China government, which is equivalent like a state or a province. This is the map of China. You can see Chongqing is located as the southwest of China, and Chengdu is about 1 hour by bullet train, and it's like a 500 kilometer, as close to the Tibet and the Yunnan province. And Sichuan province, and before Chongqing, and separate from Sichuan province. Sichuan province is like Texas, is very big as a population, as the state was #1, and the population condensed. So Dr. Li invented revolutionary vasectomy technique in early 1970s, and his 2 very well-known surgical contraception technique. First is ligation of vas deferens with clamp method under direct vision, as long as now we call no-scalpel vasectomy. And he invented these 2 specialized instruments, dissecting forceps and the ring forceps. With his approach and surgical invention and the instruments, specialized instruments, is limited the lead of scalpel and also is it's also increased the patient satisfaction and acceptance, and reduce the fear of discomfort associated with traditional vasectomy technique, quicker and less fewer complication with a fast recovery time. Today, I'm focused on no-scalpel vasectomy, which is called ligation of vas deferens with clamp method under direct vision. And I don't really talk about anything about the percutaneous chemical vas occlusion. And very few people that really know or doing this technique. I personally combine these 2 techniques. I have done close to 5,000 and for both procedures. In 1974, Dr. Li's technique with the 2 special instruments was getting popular in China. And this is, they run one of a very big randomized trial. So they found out the complication rate, like both hematoma and the infection rate, extremely low. Please note, this is perhaps the one of the largest randomized trial, clinical trial, in a medical history. They are totally, and follow-up the patient is close to 180,000 patients. After they finished the study and the data indicated they have achieved amazing, excellent results. So these results, of course, attract attention from Western medical community. So according to a report by my friend, Dr. Xiaozhang Liu, Dr. Li's technique also reversed the ratio between male and female sterilization in Sichuan province. And previously, as 3 women pursued tubal ligation versus by 1 vasectomy. And after Dr. Li invented this technique, reversed from the 1 tubal ligation to 8 vasectomy, prospectively. This is it's a really amazing contribution. As I understand, between 1970 to 1980, over 10 million vasectomies in China by using Dr. Li's technique. Well, in 1984, a delegation of medical professionals from AVSA International Law, we call Engender Health, Cornell University, Northwestern University, and Population Council, and the FHI, visited Chongqing, China, to investigate Dr. Li's innovative vasectomy techniques for both ligation of vas deferens technique and also with chemical injection technique. And during this trip, and they identify groundbreaking procedure known as ligation of vas deferens with clamp method under direct vision. I remember I was there. This is a group visit, Chongqing. I was here, and I participated in their discussion. And Dr. Mark Goldstein now is my mentor and the professor at Cornell. And Dr. Douglas Huber, he served as medical director for AVSA. They play a very important role, introduce this technique to Western medical community. And following year, in 1985, Dr. Goldstein revisited Chongqing and received a hands-on surgical training in Dr. Lee's vasectomy technique. Yeah, this is their discussion. I stand in the center and to witness their conversation. Following year, 1985, Dr. Goldstein and performed the first Dr. Lee's vasectomy technique at the New York Hospital Cornell Medical Center. And he also was the first American surgeon receive hands-on training in China by Dr. Lee. And this is a couple of pictures I took with Dr. Lee and Dr. Xiaozhang Liu. Xiaozhang has played a very important role and for the Dr. Lee's vasectomy technique, and also play important role to introduce Dr. Lee's technique to outside of China. This is the picture, and I took with Dr. Mark Goldstein in 1985 when he visited China and worked with Dr. Lee for the hands-on vasectomy technique. So this picture was my first week when I arrived in the New York City. With Dr. Lee's strong recommendation and support, I joined Dr. Goldstein's fellowship. I started working with him and on the numerous male infertility and microsurgery project at Cornell. Since 1988, I've been working with Dr. Goldstein Dr. Goldstein. I worked with him for over 4 decades. So, trust but verify. And in 1989, and AVSA and the WHO organized a very famous clinical trial. It's like we call King's Birthday Vasectomy Festival. In one day, we attract over 1,200 patients to participate in this activity. Before this festival, we traveled to Thailand, and Dr. Goldstein and myself, we traveled there to train a group of surgeons and certify them with a good no-scalpel vasectomy technique. At that time, we call Dr. Lee's vasectomy technique. And another group of surgeons is about 15 or 20. Basically, they're the top surgeon for vasectomy. We basically, was one day, we have 1,200 patients and group them together, let these 2 groups to compete with each other. And at the end of the day, and we analyze the data. So we found it out. It's like a conventional vasectomy has much higher, 10 times higher complication than Dr. Lee's technique. And the Dr. Lee's technique is much faster and safer compared to conventional vasectomy technique. So end of the day, and we had a very good meeting. At that meeting in 1989, and the Dr. Lee's vasectomy technique was formally and officially named No-Scalpel vasectomy. And the story behind this name is that we had a couple of options. One of the name called long scalpel vasectomy, a Dr. Lee's vasectomy technique. I think the idea comes from Dr. Abhishek. Abhishek played a very important role. He worked with Michai. Michai was a name. He was very well known within the male contraception, and has a legal name as Mr. Condom. So Dr. Abhishek and work with Dr. Douglas Huber, they figured it out. Maybe use a director name as a no-scalpel vasectomy. I think a very strong message to the community. Also is good for the marketing. So that is how we name Dr. Lee's vasectomy technique as no-scalpel vasectomy in Bangkok, Thailand in 1989. When I look at this picture, really time flies, almost like close to 37 years and fly so quickly. This is Dr. Abhishek I had a picture with him in 1989. Unfortunately, he passed away about maybe 15 or 20 years ago. Dr. Douglas Huber, he was a medical director for the AVSA. He played a very important role, and he passed away last year. And finally, one of urologists, a very well-known urologist, he is named as the father of microsurgery in the male infertility in the US, and Dr. Arnold Baker. I traveled with him. I spent a time with him during this trip, and he passed away last year. So this is Dr. Xiaozhang Liu, and she also was with us during this trip. Again, and as I mentioned, and during the 1970 to 1990, during that period of time, and in China, they have the one-child policy, and they run this study with like 180,000 cases clinical trial. They receive an unbelievably low complication rate, hematoma rate less than 0.1%, infection rate also less than 1%. But we need data from outside of China to verify their discovery. So first, the study run by Dr. Mark Goldstein at Cornell, he reported 0 complication rate for both hematoma and infection. And then my dear friend Jose Veladon came to Cornell for microsurgical training. During his training at Cornell, I convinced him to get involved with no-scalpel vasectomy. When he went back to Barcelona, and he invited me back to Barcelona, we ran the first no-scalpel vasectomy workshop in Spain. And then we published a paper for 400 cases, and we verified Dr. Lee and Dr. Goldstein's results with a very, very low, almost no complication rate for his trial with a 400 patient. The similar study reported by Dr. Kazi from India, and his large clinical trial with over 4,000 patients, again, verify and support Dr. Lee's early discovery and the clinical outcome. So, and then AVSA established the first no-scalpel vasectomy training program in 1990. Again, I'm so happy to hear and a lot of conversation about vasectomy training. At that time, and we control the instruments. We make sure urologists sign on hands-on training, and then we give them the instruments. Currently, they can buy instrument anywhere. So sometimes, as I mentioned to you, and surgeon also have like a certain of ego. If you ask any surgeon, do you know how to do the vasectomy? Answer is yes. The definition of vasectomy cut the vessel off. Nobody really pay much attention about the detail. And I was very lucky to work with Dr. Lee, in China, and then I come to work with Dr. Mark Goldstein. Both of them are really meticulous surgeons. So I learned a great deal how to pay attention and to detail. So I worked with Gonzalez, Betty Gonzalez. We put together this surgical manual. I remember I spent a lot of time and 6 months to put this book together with Betty Gonzalez. And we published this manual and plus with a video in 1992. Here is the barcode. And if you scan, you can download this surgical manual. And during that period of time, hundreds of urologists, surgeons, and family physicians in the US and Canada received hands-on NSV training. And also during that time, I meet with Dr. Stan, Michelle Lebrac, and Ron Weiss. And currently, NSV has become a preferred vasectomy technique globally. And AVSA did a quick study. We found out still right now, and there's about half of surgeon, urologists, family practitioner learn how to perform no-scalpel vasectomy from the video and the book. You look, this is a 3 NSV and the no-scalpel, no needle, a giant superstar and the king in the US and Canada. I first meet with Dr. Stan in 1989, because 1989 or 1990, and I had a wonderful week and with Dr. Stan and Dr. Stan's family. And then I also traveled to Quebec City, work with Michel Lebrec. I was so impressed about his vasectomy knowledge and his surgical skill. So I spent at least 3 or 4 days with Michelle, and then I traveled to Ottawa to meet with Ron Weiss, and I spent several days in Ron Weiss's, Dr. Weiss's house, and then we become a very good friend. And Ron Weiss has become a very meticulous um, uh, specialist for vasectomy, and unfortunately, and he passed away and last month. But we will miss him greatly. I was always very interested in thinking about how to pursue how to develop a perfect vasectomy, a low needle, and also get rid of the needle. I like this quote by Tom Friston. He said, innovation is taking two things that already exist and putting them together in a new way. I was so excited to read this article by Dr. Wilson, Jacob Wilson. So I was very excited, and then I contact to Dr. Ron Weiss, hey, can we just put together a study? And Ron Weiss say, hey, I have a huge practice. And I remember, and we did 2 rounds. The first round, he is finished about 600 within 2 or 3 months. And then we analyze the data. We say, hey, Ron, we need to really standardize the patient collection form to meet with the urology, Journal of Urology's standard. So, and after we sit down, develop a protocol together, and then the second phase, and Ron, we submit about close to 600 cases. I told Ron, that's enough. So our data also published by coming years at the AUA. This book as recently, and I found this book online and prepared by Dr. Jacob Wilson. I found it one of the best surgical manual for no-scalpel vasectomy. I highly recommend. Everyone is interested about the no-scalpel vasectomy, not even download our surgical manual. Please review and download Dr. Jacob Wilson's NSV surgical manual. I learned so much from this manual. I highly recommend. So this picture is a part of the history and how we develop a no-needle, no-scalpel vasectomy study. I'm always interested about what is the best local anesthesia for no-scalpel vasectomy. And in 1992, I co-author, I was the first author with Dr. Sun-Chang Lee and Dr. Peter Schlegel. And currently, Dr. Schlegel is the AUA guideline chair committee. Dr. Mark Goldstein, we published this, the local anesthesia technique for no-scalpel vasectomy on urology. This is the second study I did with Dr. Ron Weiss, inspired by Dr. Jacob Wilson's idea, was use a MetaJet for no-scalpel vasectomy. And we surprisingly found out as satisfaction rate is so high, we don't have any complication during our clinical trial. So we also presented these results I think at AUA year 2015 in May. We published a paper in the same time, and we really get excited. We speed up everything. In the meantime, we also finished this no-needle anesthesia for no-scalpel vasectomy and instructive guide for surgeon. Again, this is what I really think is very important. Public health surgical technique and medical products. You have to consider safety, safety, always safety. Trust the data, but always verify. So people ask me why I disappeared from vasectomy business for many years. And as I say, I traveled to Lusaka, Zambia, at least maybe 10 times in the last few years. And in last 15 years, I've been working with hundreds different surgeons in the multiple African countries. Were sponsored by this project, is sponsored by WHO, Gates Foundation, and NIH. We did a Xiang male circumcision and HIV prevention clinical trial in many African countries. This is a picture, as you see, we also our data and the results attracted Bill Gates come to our clinical site in Lusaka, Zambia. And so this is Dr. Robert Zulu and the host and meet with Bill Gates. When this is the list of clinical trial, we're finishing more than 8 RCT and clinical trial, and we publish our results on the Journal of Urology and the AIDS and Nature Review and Lancet Global Health. So after Bill Gates visit Dr. Robert Zulu in Zambia, on the way back, and he gave this speech at Stanford University.
And what was invented is this thing. It's called the Shang ring. And what this does is it reduces the time that the surgeon has to be involved down to a few minutes.
When I started this journey, I never really even dreamed about we can achieve that much. And 10 years ago, and the WHO and analyzed our data, published a statement online, and the Shang ring is safe and effective over 99% of patients. No serious complications are found. And what I learned and from how to promote the vasectomy helped me to popularize Shang ring in Africa as a greatly. So we also developed a bunch of Shang ring surgical training video, and we even have a Shang ring surgical training app. Anyone is interested about the Shang ring, and you can scan this barcode to download.
And
both Chinese no-scalpel vasectomy and the Shang ring male circumcision and proven the long-term safety over 40 years for no-scalpel vasectomy, 10 years for Shang ring with a superior safety records. Both of them achieve a high satisfaction and acceptability rate. And both of them and endorsed by WHO. Both of them are game changers with exceptional global public health impact. This is the Shang ring and inventor, Mr. Sang, and he is not even a physician. He's a carpenter. He's invent this concept. If anyone is interested about this Shang ring technique, you can go to online to do a search.
The safety we work so hard to establish. We must continue to emphasize the importance of hands-on NSV training. Most recently, my dear friend, Dr. Michel Lebrec, developed an outstanding NSV training model that will be instrumental in supporting the next generation of NSV practitioners. I'm sure there are similar training model out there. If I miss anyone's contribution, please forgive me. I want to take this opportunity acknowledging some of outstanding global leaders, contributors who have helped refine and advance no-scalpel vasectomy technique. There are Shunchang Li, Xiaozhang Liu, Mark Goldstein, Doc Stan, Michel Lebrec, Ron Weiss. Ron passed away last year. We miss you. Dr. Kasef from India, and Dr. Wilson. Your dedication and innovation are highly appreciated. Thank you. And most importantly, a heartfelt thanks to founders of World Vasectomy Day, Jonathan, Doc, Sam, and Deidre. Your vision, passion, and leadership have created a movement, I say movement, that history will remember. A few minutes ago, before I give this talk, I received an email from my dear friend, colleague, and big brother, Dr. Dockstam. It's really melted down my heart and rekindle a lot of wonderful memory and the time I spent with Doc. in his beautiful house and in Tampa. And Doc, and I want to thank you from my bottom of my heart for everything you have done for no-scalpel vasectomy. And you give me too much credit. Thank you so much. So finally, I would like to close this lecture with a quote from President Nelson Mandela that perfectly capture the spirit of our journey. It's always impossible until it's done. Thank you, Dr. Sunchang Li, and thank you all for your attention. I wish you all a happy Father's Day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Philip. That is a really amazing look back at all of the history of no-scalpel vasectomy from the very beginning, with a great tribute to the pioneers who brought it forward throughout the world, and none more so than yourself as a trainer and educator. And I'm glad to hear your emphasis on the importance of the expert training manual you have written, but also hands-on training throughout the process to maintain excellence in no-scalpel vasectomy technique. So in closing, and we're just a few minutes over our time, I will close this up with a couple of comments. I want to thank our speakers, all our speakers, for this amazing journey through no-scalpel vasectomy, how it started in 1974, spread across China, and in the 80s to the US, India, Colombia, and around the world. I do want to acknowledge that there are other important advances in vasectomy that have accompanied the evolution of no-scalpel vasectomy, including cautery and fascial interposition, which improve failure rates, no needle vasectomy that avoids the fear of needles for anesthesia. And these are also active topics of discussion, analysis, and teaching by members of this group. Thank you to Maria Renee and Catherine for the logistical support, and to Deidre Smith and Jonathan Stack for World Vasectomy Day leadership. World Vasectomy Day has really cultivated a global center of excellence for all vasectomy providers. This model of open exchange of knowledge and skills between colleagues in vasectomy care fosters continuous quality improvement in patient care, and that attracts more doctors to our mission. If you can afford to donate to World Vasectomy Day, as Jonathan mentioned, I encourage you to click on the donate link in the invitation you received to this webinar. Today, we focused on NSV to encourage the systematic training and mastery of NSV skills that Philip Lee so eloquently articulated. Excellent technique reduces risk to patients. Happy patients means more acceptance of vasectomy in the community. And when men get vasectomies, women are spared the morbidity and mortality of tubal sterilization. So vasectomy really is all about women and families. And so on this Father's Day weekend, we salute fathers who step up for family planning and choose vasectomy as an act of love. Thank you all for attending, and have a great day.
Thank you, Chick. I really appreciate you doing the moderating as well. And thank you everybody that came. We do have a short video for those of you who do not have to leave right away. And I think our tech is about to roll it. So, oh, and we have some questions.
Yeah, I just wanted to also just thank everybody finally. What an amazing series of speakers. We're such an honor to have you here. It is, like you said, a kind of a movement. It continues to grow. On Monday, we're launching a training program in Zambia that's going to be training Ministry of Health doctors. We're working with Mari Stopes and SIF. We'll be starting off with training 3 doctors and 6 nurses in 3 different institutions, and that's going to be going on for 3 years. And this year, World Vasectomy Day is taking place in Argentina. And if people are interested in coming, we're going to find ways to include as many participants. That's going to be the second week in November, but there's going to be activities all of November. We'd love to have doctors. We'll be sending out formal invitations for anybody interested. We'll tell you what's possible. Also, just to say that we started a training unit in Argentina. It's been incredible. The support from the Ministry of Health has been unequaled. We're now, we think they've already trained around 13 doctors there, and they're starting to spread throughout the entire region of Argentina. And for the last training mission, just to give an idea, the last training mission, they needed 125 clients and 3,000 men signed up. So the numbers are incredible. The interest is growing. There's just more and more men who just see the value in taking that responsibility, as Dr. Wilson so eloquently stated. So I'm going to let the film end, but I really appreciate everybody. If you can donate, great. If not, continue to come to our events, share the events, and remember, everybody, if you want a credit, CME credit from Laval University, or a credit from UNAM, or finally a credit or just a participation certificate from World Vasectomy Day, the information is posted in the chat. And finally, just big thanks to Dr. Stein, Doug, who's been sort of a friend, more than a friend. He's been a brother in this journey, not possible without him. And of course, also to Michelle Lebrecq, who's should be on vacation, but he's chimed in from Europe. So these are the guys who've been really right by my side, and there's room for more. So open up for, you know, more people to come up with ideas. We have more lectures planned. Next one is in the end of September. Everybody take care. Have a great Father's Day, everybody.